Super Mario 64 Sunshine and Galaxy, Super Mario 3D World, and Super Mario Odyssey. All of these 3D Mario games are right now playable on Nintendo Switch in one way or another. The first three are unfortunately part of a limited release bundle which can be difficult to get your hands on, but the games are on Switch nonetheless, and this is obviously amazing. Every generation of 3D Mario is represented here, from Nintendo 64 to GameCube to Wii to Wii U, and even the Switch itself with Odyssey. But do you notice something missing? I do. We're just one 3D Mario game away from this entire series being playable on our current generation console. Meaning, if someone buys a Nintendo Switch today, there's only one game that's not accessible to them. And that missing game is Super Mario Galaxy 2, originally released on Nintendo Wii in 2010. Super Mario Galaxy 2 is now the only 3D Mario game from a prior generation to not get a modern re-release, and that's without counting Super Mario 3D Land, since that's a 3DS game and I'm really only talking about the mainline home console 3D Marios. Galaxy 2 is the final game we need in order to make the Switch the ultimate 3D Mario machine, and I think because of this, there is a good chance Nintendo announces it sometime soon. I truly think this game will resurface one day. The only question is, how will this happen and what will it look like? There are many different scenarios for how this might play out, which makes it an interesting question, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. When imagining how Super Mario Galaxy 2 might work on Nintendo Switch, a lot of the hard work is done for us already. It's actually extremely easy to imagine because an updated version of Super Mario Galaxy is already available on Switch in the form of 3D All-Stars. And by all accounts, that game works extremely well with the new controls. While different people of course have their own preferences, we're not missing much by ditching the Wii Remote in favor of the Nintendo Switch controllers. Any sort of Wii pointer style aiming is easily handled by the motion sensing and gyro inside of the Switch Joy-Cons or Pro Controller, and Super Mario Galaxy 2 works in very much the same way as the first, so these controls could come over pretty much one-to-one. In this way, it's not much of a stretch to imagine Galaxy 2 running on Nintendo Switch, looking and feeling exactly like the 3D All-Stars version of Galaxy 1. Conveniently, the roadmap is already there, so the vision for this game is clear. Where the bigger questions arise about Super Mario Galaxy 2 on Switch is how the game might release. What form would we see it in? What price point would it release at? And is there a chance it comes bundled with something else? Let's think about that for a second. First, we have to ask, would a simple HD port of Galaxy 2 suffice as a standalone release? And if we're judging that by simply the quality of the game and the likelihood that fans would buy it, then yes, of course it would. Galaxy 2 is a fantastic game. It takes the perspective-shifting, gravity-bending ideas from the original Galaxy and expands on them even more, adding new gameplay elements like rideable Yoshi and the Cloud Flower among many others. It features a variety of new levels and challenges, and many place it on the same level or even higher than the original. It's one of the most beloved 3D Mario games for a reason, and critically speaking, it's one of the highest rated Nintendo games of all time. There's no question that re-releasing this game on Switch would make for a worthwhile product for people to pick up and play. But remember, the first Super Mario Galaxy is very much the same, and that game did not come to Switch standalone. As we all know, it came over alongside Super Mario 64 and Sunshine, as part of the 3D All-Stars collection. These three titles were bundled together and sold as a single full-price Nintendo release, physically and digitally. If an HD version of Super Mario Galaxy 2 came over to Switch without any major add-ins and then was sold for the same price, that would be one game trying to compare to three. Naturally, it would seem very underwhelming in comparison. Because of this, I don't think a simple one-to-one HD remaster of Galaxy 2 is the right answer. At least, just not at that price point. If Galaxy 2 were to release by itself without any other substantial changes, then Nintendo would likely need to sell it at a cheaper price. I could see it going for the $49.99 US price tag that smaller first-party games like WarioWare usually get, or even the $29.99 price point we most recently saw with Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. While Galaxy 2 is by no means a small release, in a world where Super Mario 3D All-Stars exists, a simple as-is, no-frills HD port would need to be sold at a cheaper price. However, one way Nintendo could get away with charging full price for Galaxy 2 is if they bundled it with another game. And if this is the approach they end up taking, it could actually lead to a dream scenario for 3D Mario fans. It's a long shot, as this would be a pretty random pairing of games, but what if an HD port of Super Mario Galaxy 2 was bundled alongside an HD port of Super Mario 3D Land, which is technically a 3D Mario game as well, and is currently stuck on Nintendo 3DS. This would be pretty amazing, as it would bring the only other game you could arguably call a 3D Mario over to Nintendo Switch at the same time. I never thought 3D Land would be that great of a port over to Switch, since it did have some pretty cool uses of the stereoscopic 3D that wouldn't get to carry over in full, but all in all, it's another great Mario platformer, one that should get a modern re-release at some point in the future. Galaxy 2 is the big 3D Mario we're missing right now, and bringing it over to Switch alongside the next biggest omission, 3D Land, would be awesome to see, and it makes a lot of sense since 3D Land is probably next in line. Plus, if this were to happen, I don't think there'd be much question at that point if the bundle would be worth full price. And speaking of full price releases, another way I could imagine Galaxy 2 making its way over to Switch is not necessarily in the form of a remake, but instead a more detailed HD remaster. Especially recently, there have been a lot of older Nintendo games getting full HD makeovers. Nintendo could simply use Galaxy 2 as its next remaster candidate, giving the game new textures, lighting, and some quality of life features, teetering on the line of a full remake. Games like Luigi's Mansion 2 HD and the upcoming Donkey Kong Country Returns HD are perfect examples of the treatment Super Mario Galaxy 2 could potentially get. Again, this wouldn't be a remake, like for example Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe or Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, but it wouldn't be a straight port job either, like the games in 3D All-Stars. And let me just clarify, calling the 3D All-Stars games port jobs isn't me trying to disparage them in any way. Super Mario Galaxy on Switch looks extremely good, and at the time of its release, many said that, visually speaking, it could have passed as a brand new Mario game, and I 100% agree. But ultimately, it is just the original Galaxy running on Switch. That's it. No bells and whistles. On the flip side, a remaster with more detailed changes to the visuals and lighting, plus quality of life features or bonus content, would be a more expensive project on Nintendo's end, but they could end up charging more money for it. This would result in what would probably end up as the definitive way to experience Galaxy 2, breathing new life into one of the best Nintendo Wii games ever made. And who could be mad at that? When all is said and done, it would really be a missed opportunity if Super Mario Galaxy 2 was never released on Nintendo Switch. Sure, there are so many other 3D Mario games to play on the console, and we should be thankful for that, but there's just something about having an entire series available to play on one system. Right now, if a Switch owner wanted to, they could play through all the Pikmin games, the 3 Bayonetta games, the numbered Xenoblade Chronicles games, and soon the entire Donkey Kong Country series, once Returns HD comes out in 2025. That's amazing for people who might be new to these series and are looking to fully dive in, and it makes it super convenient for those looking to revisit the games as well. This unbelievable library of classic Nintendo games that the Switch has built over the last 7+ years continues to grow, and even once the the successor comes out, the Switch will probably still continue to get games, at least during the first few years. Super Mario Galaxy 2 could arrive at any point, and when it does, it'll be time to celebrate the entire 3D Mario series being playable on a singular home console, and also in handheld form due to the Switch's hybrid nature. How cool is that? Plus, if the next Nintendo platform is going to be backwards compatible with Switch games, then there's no reason to slow down or stop releasing them. I look forward to a console generation where every single 3D Mario is right there at my fingertips, and I can't help but smile thinking about how likely that seems at the current moment. But what do you think? Do you think we'll see Super Mario Galaxy 2 come to Nintendo Switch within the next few years? And if you do, how do you think it'll come? A 3D All-Star style port at a cheaper price point, packed with another game in some sort of bundle, or as a full HD remaster or even a remake? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, then definitely check out my other Nintendo content. I aim to share the joy of Nintendo games by reviewing and discussing them with massive fans like myself. If you're looking for something Nintendo related to listen to while you wait for Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, then I think you're in the right place. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.